There are at least three changes that I assume Donald Trump is going to make to the naturalization process. This is all based on the last time he was president, and we can use that to forecast what he's going to do this time. The first change that he's likely going to make is that he's going to change the citizenship test. The last time Donald Trump was president, he tried to change the naturalization test to add questions and make it a little bit more challenging. But ultimately, the changes he was going to make were challenged in court, and they ended up not going into effect for very long. Another change that we can expect to see during Trump's presidency is longer processing times for the naturalization process. Right now, we're seeing very fast processing times where someone can apply for naturalization and be a full citizen 4 to 6 months later. We can expect processing times to increase, as was the case last time Trump was president. The most important change that I think Donald Trump is going to make that's going to affect a lot of applicants is that he will find more ways to find that you did not have good character during the naturalization period. So generally speaking, someone who applies for naturalization needs to demonstrate that they had good moral character for at least 5 years before they apply for citizenship. And sometimes that period is restricted to just 3 years if you're applying for citizenship after marrying a US citizen. But for purposes of this video, let's just assume there's a 5-year good moral character period. Typically, we just need to show that you didn't have any criminal history during that period, that you paid your child support, that you don't owe any overdue taxes during that period. But last time Donald Trump was president, he increased the number of ways officers can find bad character. And one of them was really shocking. One of the ways that officers found that you had bad character was if you failed to submit a change of address form every time you moved locations before you became a US citizen. Generally speaking, anybody who is not a US citizen who's going through the immigration process or has permanent residence must submit an AR-11 change of address form. Now it's as simple as going into your online uscis.gov account and submitting a simple change of address notification. If you fail to do that, there is a chance that USCIS will now, moving forward, find that you failed to demonstrate good character and can use it as a basis to deny your citizenship application. Alright guys, so those are 3 changes that I expect to see based on what Donald Trump did last time he was president. There's a good chance that there will be more changes than that, but I can't speculate as to what they might be. A lot of people ask me, should I apply now that I know he will be the next president? And my answer is yes. You should apply now if you qualify and if there are no major issues. If you have a super clean citizenship application, naturalization application, you should submit that application ASAP. And the reason for that is that the changes he plans to make might not go into effect right away. I kind of assume that they will go into effect right away, but the worst thing that could generally happen is your citizenship application will get denied. That is, of course, if you have a super clean case. Sometimes they'll do an in-depth background check and determine that, hey, you actually improperly became a permanent resident, in which case way worse things can happen than just getting your citizenship application denied. In those cases, you can even end up in removal proceedings and end up facing deportation from the United States. So when I say you should definitely submit your application now, that is if you've done a Freedom of Information Act request, if you've spoken with an attorney, if you have no criminal history whatsoever, and everything else is super clean. Alright guys, that brings us to the end of today's video. If you're interested in family-based immigration and specifically marriage-based immigration topics, those are what I focus on, and I put out a video on a weekly basis. If you're interested, be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys next week for another one.